The 2018 draft is now in books. Lots of smiling faces to the stage in Brooklyn. Some predictable results, including DeAndre Ayton going #1 overall. Luka Doncic had a very interesting night, to say the least. We'll get into that in just a moment. Guys like Marvin Bagley, Wendell Carter finding their new homes along the way. We'll get into all of it here over the next 90 minutes from our Atlanta studio. Welcome in, everybody. Good to have you with us. I'm Matt Weiner. Got the Hall of Famer David Aldridge right over here.
You were clean shaven when this night began.
That's right. That's how long it's been since we started. The #1 pick 30 years ago, feels like 31 now, but 30 years ago in the 1988 draft, Danny Manning, the head coach at Wake Forest, now with us. Look at you got the suit. You know, as far as suits go, I got to say, this is pretty good. Like, you can't look back and feel bad about this suit choice.
Nice, solid, colored gray, you know, safe.
Nothing crazy?
No, not too crazy, not at all.
Stood the test of time?
Yes.
Right over there, Brendan Haywood, Stu Jackson standing by at their designated table.
The designated kitty table. We
What?
eat
I'm
last.
not going to call it that.
No.
We eat first,
Hey, Danny,
we eat last.
Hey, Danny had a classic look, though. Danny had a classic
You
look.
could wear that suit today.
You know who's going to look back in this draft and be like, I can't believe I did that?
Who's that?
Shea Gilgeous.
I know someone let him out of his hotel room and told him, you look
He
good.
dared to be different, though.
Yeah.
He dared to be different. It's from the Russell Westbrook collection.
Well, by the way, I'm told we can't find draft footage for Brendan.
I wasn't drafted that long ago now. Let's not do that.
I know. I was just told that. We couldn't find it.
There's some draft coverage.
I know
the first round pick?
It's got to.
I was the first round pick. I walked across the
I
stage.
said you were first round pick.
I don't know why we don't.
Yeah, I shook the commissioner's hand, but I had
You went to a Power 6 school?
Yeah, I had a classic navy blue suit on, though. Classic navy blue.
I'm
You
just
can't go
letting
wrong
you
in
know,
navy.
You should file a protest with the folks upstairs. For some reason, we don't have your video.
I know. They need to do better.
All right, we'll get back over to you in just a moment. Boy, the night got off to a very interesting start. Once we got to the #3 pick, the Atlanta Hawks held that pick, one of the 3 they owned in the first round, but then a trade took place, and the Hawks were essentially picking for the Dallas Mavericks, and with that pick took Luka Doncic. The pick was not necessarily a surprise. Doncic's eventual destination is, as he moves to Dallas, wearing that Hawks hat to make it a little confusing, while Trae Young was selected by the Mavericks at #5, but he'll play for the Atlanta Hawks. In exchange, Hawks pick up a future first-round draft pick in 2019. This is really interesting, and in terms of value, you're talking about moving up 2 spots and giving up a first-round pick along the way. Let's hear from both players.
How strange was this, though, to be a part of this trade?
Yeah, I know. But it's NBA, you know. In Europe, we are not used to this. But like I said, I'm really happy to be a part of them. And, well, thanks to Atlanta to drafting me too. But I'm really happy to be part of Dallas.
And let's lastly here talk about what it will be like for you to play alongside Dirk Nowitzki, who may be the greatest international player ever in the NBA.
Yeah, like I said, he's amazing, you know. He just has everything. He's a leader. He's a veteran. He knows everything. He's been through a lot of stuff, so I'm just really happy to be with him.
You're a #5 pick, so obviously the team believed in you, but do you still feel like you have a lot to prove, that you can translate your game from the college level to the pro level?
Yeah, well, I feel like I always have something to prove. I always play with a chip on my shoulder. I always feel like I need to get better, but at the same time, I know I got a lot to work on, but, I mean, I got to show and prove.
And where does that start?
It starts from day one, being the hardest worker, and focusing on the defensive end. I mean, a lot of people talk about how I couldn't play defense in college, and I mean, I gave him a right to, but at the end of the day, that's why I need to show that from day one.
From the Dallas point of view, Dennis Smith Jr. figures to lose some of his ball handling responsibilities with Doncic in the lineup, but he's a fan, he tweets. His tweet of approval, if you will. Let's talk about this from a value point of view.
Yeah.
The Mavericks moved up 2 spots, gave up a first-round pick. That's not a small thing.
It's not.
To move up 2 places, but clearly they wanted Luka Doncic that badly.
Yeah, and it's protected pretty high, so if they wound up for some reason with the worst record, they get the pick. But yeah, look, he's that good, and I don't have a problem at all with Dallas making that move. He's a guy that we all thought people would move up to 3 to try and get the teams that would have a good chance at him, because he's a guy that can be a star player in this league. I mean, he is. There's nobody that's ever done what he did this last few years in the history of European basketball, and that's a big time thing for a teenage kid to do at his age, to play against grown men and to dominate them. That's very impressive, and so he's a guy that has a chance to be a star in this league.
He's going to be a star.
Yeah.
He's got the package. He's someone that's ready to step onto the scene and have a big impact. And I think you're looking at this team, you see Dennis Smith. Dennis can play off the ball. He's very dynamic. He can score the ball from the off-guard spot. So I think this is going to be a good combination.
And guys, Doncic certainly seems like the perfect player to sort of usher in the next era of Mavericks basketball, with at least a year with Dirk Nowitzki as a teammate.
Well, I agree. I mean, not only that, but by taking a player of Doncic's size, I think it's going to help Dennis Smith, because now you have another guy that can handle the basketball and a bigger backcourt player that can guard bigger guards, given the fact that Dennis is a little bit small. You got explosiveness on one side, great vision, skill, shooting ability on the other side in Doncic. And I think that's a situation, being in Dallas, where Rick Carlisle is known for his ability to make guys mesh and establish a system where his guys can flourish. I like the pick a lot for Dallas.
I love the pick for Dallas. Rick Carlisle, one of the most extensive offensive playbooks in all of the NBA. He's going to have plays set up for Doncic. He's going to put him in a good position. And I like the pairing with Dennis Smith Jr. When you look at a lot of teams in the NBA that are successful, what do they have? They have multiple ball handlers, multiple guys that can do different things. Dallas has struck out on those guys in free agency. They realize now they have to draft their stars. This is the first step in drafting their stars. They got a good piece last year in Dennis Smith Jr. Doncic this year is the next piece. I like where they're headed. I think these guys can play together, and the future looks very bright.
Yeah.
Guys, think about this for a moment. Luka Doncic was born on February 28, 1999. Dirk Nowitzki was 14 games into his rookie season on that day, and now they will be teammates next season with the Dallas Mavericks. As for the Hawks, a lot of folks are questioning whether this made sense for them to, A, give up on Doncic for only a first-round pick, and B, to take Trae Young with the 5th overall pick as opposed to perhaps later in the first round. They've got a ton of possibilities still with 3 first-round picks in this draft, another second-round pick, 2 more first-round picks coming up next year as well, and lots of cap room as well. Kristen Ledlow spent the night here in Atlanta with the Hawks, and she spoke with General Manager Travis Schlenk.
You told me prior to the draft you wanted to add young talent that could grow with this franchise. What do you feel you accomplished after these selections now have been made?
Yeah, when you look at all 3 guys we drafted, all 3 guys can stretch the floor offensively. When you look at the way the game's played this year, or moving in the NBA, you've got to be able to space the floor, and all 3 of these guys can shoot the ball from the perimeter. All 3 guys can put the ball on the floor and get to the rim. And a couple of guys, Trae and Kevin, can really create for other guys. So we're really pleased with how it played out.
What else was it about Trae Young that had this franchise's sights set on him?
You know, obviously, when you look at the way his college season played out, he's a guy that people gravitated towards. He's a guy that we really feel like passes the ball even better than he shoots the ball. And obviously, his shooting ability is really, really high level. But the way he moves the ball, the way he can pass with both his left and right hand off the dribble, the way he reads pick and rolls very quickly, we're really excited about adding him the way the game's moving.
You're having to rebuild this team from the ground up. So what is a reasonable expectation for Hawks fans for a definition of success next season?
You know, for us next year is for these young guys to grow. You know, we added 3 really, really young guys, 2 freshmen and a sophomore. So, you know, there's going to be a learning curve in the NBA, but we have a lot of confidence in these guys to be able to come in and pick it up and continue to build this thing.
Thanks. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Well, Trae Young is most often compared to Steph Curry, fairly or not, but his freshman season at Oklahoma compares pretty well with Curry's junior year before he entered the NBA. Curry is bigger, a little longer as well, but obviously Trae Young did something that nobody has ever done at the Division I level, leading the country in both scoring and assists in the same season. The question, guys, as I turn it back over to you is, was he worth the 5th overall pick, keeping in mind that the Hawks did pick up another first-round pick next year?
Yeah, in my mind, Brendan, I have to look at this and question it a little bit. I think that there's some quantity here with which the Hawks did in drafting, a guy like Young.